A very good morning to you and welcome back to the 2022 World Rowing Under 19 and Under 23 Championships here in beautiful Varese, Italy. Well, with temperatures slightly cooler than the last few days and a very slight tailwind, we welcome you back to the championship on beautiful Lago di Varese this morning. A look up the course as we await the start of the 9 a.m. race. So it'll get a bit hotter for sure in the afternoon. Just an ever so slight tail breeze, but truly absolutely perfect conditions for championship caliber racing this morning. Yesterday, the first 2022 World Rowing Under 23 champions were crowned here on Lago di Varese. This is a preview of the fantastic racing this morning to come, kicking off with the junior men's singles finals. Yesterday, change of schedule due to forecast. We saw a mix of quarterfinals for the under 19s, semifinals for the U23s. As you can see on your screen, more semifinals to come. And we saw under 23 champions crowned on Italy's Lago di Varese yesterday as well. The Italian national anthem heard 3 times on home water during the 9 finals, and 7 new World Championships best times were set. My name is Colleen Seville, here on behalf of World Rowing. It's an absolute privilege to bring you the racing on this Saturday. I'm here with my colleague Andrea Proska, 4-seat in the gold medal winning Canadian Women's 8. Very good morning to you, Andrea.
Very good morning to you. What a pleasure to be here, out of the 4-seat into the commentary seat. And I think you said it so well. These are exactly the conditions that you want to have your most important race of the regatta on. We're looking across to beautiful, clear skies, the gorgeous Alps in the backdrop. What a place to race.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? So beautiful, beautiful shot of the Alps. You can get a look at the grandstand in the bottom right-hand side of your picture. Our local host and fabulous commentator, Luca, up in the tower, well, he's told us that buses and buses and buses of Italians are coming down to cheer on and support the fabulous racing happening in their home country.
Yes, and as you can see, those grandstands are going to be packed. Just on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the Varese Rowing Club, and all of those, as you squint, you'll be able to see every single flag of all the athletes represented here today. In total, we have 1,500 athletes for the 22 categories and 61 nations.
Yeah, it's a big event, isn't it? And we kick off the morning with the junior men's single. Out of lane 1, Puerto Rico, Alexander Chapuis. And welcome back to Lago di Varese as we await the 9 a.m. start of the under 19 men's single sculls moving up the course. See the absolutely beautiful backdrop of the Alps and a preview of the races to come. This is the E final of the U19 men's single sculls with Puerto Rico, South Africa, Japan, Slovenia, and Sri Lanka. Tour around the world, Andrea, isn't it?
Absolutely. Someone from everywhere here. South Africa, trains in Cape Town. So excited to have them here with us.
That was a shot of Alexander Shopways of Puerto Rico. Sasha Mozik, South Africa. Yuki Megaguchi for Japan out of lane 3. Aljaz Kunstel of Slovenia, lane 4. And Shalon Cheyenne Ambrose Gunarahanta for Sri Lanka. As the buzzer goes off, it's the start of the under-19 men's single sculls. This is the E-final. Such a testament to the depth and breadth of competition in this category. It's the biggest event in terms of number of entrants for the under-19s. And in the E-final, we see the back of the Japanese sculler Miyaguchi out of lane 3.
A large group indeed, 27 entries. In fact, they needed 4 quarterfinals to sort this field out, and a lot of quick times as well. That athlete out of Japan just missing out on that top 2 spot to the quarterfinals. So keep your eye on Japan and Slovenia. They were the fastest in their reps, but right behind Slovenia, South Africa was only 0.3 seconds behind.
Yeah, it was a fantastic prior round, wasn't it? A quick start for South Africa, but in the early stages of the race, getting a sense of the field, well, it's Slovenia. Aljaz Kunstel of Slovenia out of lane 4, leading just barely over the South African. That's the top of the field. Behind them, well, so close between Sri Lanka and Japan, and then back to Puerto Rico. Early stages of the race closing in, not quite at the 500-meter mark. That's the back of our leader. Although trading places stroke by stroke, aren't they, with South Africa?
Absolutely, and that South African athlete, Sasha Mozik, actually won a bronze at Polo de Aloja. Here right now, it's an international regatta in April, here in North Italy at Lake Pitaluco, which is where the Italian national team, and indeed we see that there he is, first through the 500 meter, but quick on his heels, Slovenia, followed by Japan.
Those are the 500-meter times in the bottom right-hand side of your screen as the graphic pops up. Sasha Mozik of South Africa didn't quite like that push from Kunstel from Slovenia. He's managed to push himself out just a bit further. He's the quickest moving boat on the course, up at 38 strokes per minute. Riding now with Gunarahanta from Sri Lanka out of lane 5.
Long, powerful strokes here as the athletes settle into their race right about 700 meters in. They're going to be right on their speed here, trying to make sure that they are tapped down, that the adrenaline has settled from that exciting start, first race of the day, all eyes on them. And now it's going to take a full 2 kilometers to finish this race. What's at play here, Colleen?
Yeah, what's at play? It's a great question, isn't it? It's the E-final, so it means that it's the last race of the regatta for all of these athletes and the last race of the week, perhaps even for their season, as they look toward the end of the summer and beginning training in the fall. So there's so much on the line, and this is an opportunity really to come out onto the course, to have a fantastic final race, and to see just how close you can be to ideally winning this E-final. It's exactly what the South African scullers looking to do. Sasha Mozik of South Africa opening up his margin really nicely over the rest of the field. That's Yuki Miyaguchi of Japan, just moving through the halfway point.
And the South Africans, just to color in the picture a little as we come through the 1,000, Sasha Mozik still leading the charge. They actually have had some problems keeping in touch with the water due to their training lakes being overgrown by water plants. So there's been a little bit of adaptation here. No obstacles on the water here, though. They have beautiful conditions, and it certainly didn't hurt their chances. Colleen, I imagine he's also bolstered by that gold medal performance we saw in the men's pair yesterday. How motivating would that be as an athlete?
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? So, you know, really wonderful to have so many teams here as well. Some teams bringing more athletes representing larger teams than others, but it's certainly really motivating and inspirational and just a good energy boost to watch your teammates succeed at the Under-19 World Rowing Championships, which of course is bringing the best in the world together here in beautiful Lago di Varese. Up at the top, well, still moving through the third quarter of the race, looking for that 500 to go mark. No signs of slowing down. Sasha Mozik, lane 2 out of South Africa. Beautiful shot here, and you can really get a sense of his advantage over the rest of the field. Riding back again with Yuki Miyaguchi of Japan out of lane 3. Then Aljas Kunstel for Slovenia, currently running second, the Japanese sculler running third. Alexander Chapuz of Puerto Rico on the left side.
And for the first time today, we see the athletes coming into that last 500 meter. You can see that red buoy on your screen right next to Sasha Mozik as we come through. Final 500, this is where the athletes are going to start turning the dial. They're going to start walking away from the field. This will be their last race on this, and although we can see that he has an absolutely imperious lead here, I have a feeling that he's going to want to see how fast he can be, how commanding that lead will be, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little sprint here in the final 250.
Yeah, I think that's right. Last race of the regatta, certainly looking to open up that margin, have your best possible race. Each time you're out on the course and each time you race, you learn something new, and these athletes will be looking to put together everything that they've learned, they've picked up along the way in terms of strategy, the field, how they want that last race to go for them, and up at the top of the field, really making the most of that and putting all the pieces together. It is Sasha Mozik of South Africa.
That bronze medal that he won at Puroluco certainly has given him some race experience here as he's leaving nothing on the field. Those buoys turning red, final 250. Lots of supporters here from South Africa cheering them on from the stage. This is an absolutely commanding lead here. So exciting to see this, this nation absolutely dominate despite having trouble getting on the water during training.
And there he is, taking it up just a few beats to 40 strokes per minute. In the final 20 or so strokes of his regatta, of his race, looking to win the E final, it is Sasha Mozik of South Africa. Has managed to open up quite the margin over the rest of the field. The Slovenian running second behind him, Aljas Kunstel for Slovenia. And just behind them, it is Yuko Miyaguchi of Japan in his final stretch. That's the 1, 2, 3. And just on the other side of them, it's Alexander Chapuz of Puerto Rico.
That will certainly be a boost to the South African team, who has a couple other athletes racing today. We'll see them in the junior women's double, the junior men's pair, and the junior women's quad.
And a clap from the grandstand for Shalon Gunarhanta of Sri Lanka. And we'll head back up to the start for the junior men's double. This is the E final, and it's a 2-boat race. So a bit of a different strategy in these dual races.
Absolutely. You don't have to look across the field. You don't have 6 athletes. It's a 1 versus 1, you versus them. And indeed, we can see the bow seat there. Umar El Kamadi from Madi Rowing Club on the Nile. What an iconic place to row that must be. Taking a look out at the Mexicans. They're only 10 meters apart. Still early days in this race yet.
Moving through 1,500 meters. And the time's coming in. It is Egypt. A cool 31 strokes per minute, stroked by Omar Musa. And Omar El Komati supporting that rhythm in the bow seat. Mexico just to the left side of them on the screen. Gonzalo Cortes Cordera in the stroke seat and Eric Eduardo Matalenas in the bow.
And as an athlete, if you can still feel the wake, you can still feel the puddles of that boat next to you. That's such an advantage. Egypt will be looking to push forward, try and break that invisible elastic that connects the two boats. And Mexico is not going to let them go easy. Although both athletes in the Mexican boat are having their international debut, Eric Eduardo Matalanes trains out of Nuevo Leon in Mexico, and Gonzalo Cortez Cordera actually trains out of Miami Rowing Club. He won the Mexican championship in the U19 Coxed 4 and has a host of experience, including the head of the Charles, but the combination trained together in Miami when Eric's dam in Nuevo Leon dried up.
Very interesting. Access to water, of course, so important for this sport.
And relocation, these athletes will do so much. And here they come, final 250, and it looks like Mexico is pushing back.
Incredible sprint from the Mexicans looking to round out their regatta in style. The Egyptian combination holds with about a one-length advantage over Cortez Cordera and Matalanes from Mexico. That's the E final of the U19 men's double sculls. Good look at the Egyptian crew and a high five from Musa to El Komati. They'll be happy with that result. We head back up to the start for the U19 men's 4. This is semifinal, CD, the first. So first 3 will advance on to the C final, where they'll contest for positions 13 through 18 overall. Riding now with the Croatians off to an early lead. We join them already in the second quarter of the race. At the 500-meter mark, that first timing point, it was Poland, Ukraine, Croatia, and Egypt. It's a big second quarter for the Croatians, who've managed to put themselves ahead, just ahead of Poland, then back to Ukraine and Egypt.
And Croatia probably has something to prove here. They missed out on the AB semifinal by 0.4 seconds. That must have been heartbreaking. It looks like that stoked the fire here. They've got something to prove, moving into the lead at the 1,000 meters, holding a cool 37, but looking so strong and powerful.
Pu in the stroke seat for Croatia. So look at the Polish combination, Mateusz Kolowski in the stroke seat. Croatia leading Poland just by a touch as they move into the third quarter of the race. At the halfway point, Croatia moving from third at the 500 to first at the 1,000. Then it's back to Poland running second, Ukraine in third. Egypt now, the back of Soliman, Mustafa Soliman in the bow, Mohamed Omar Duski in the 2 seat, Ziad Hahish in 3, and Mohamed Ibrahim in the stroke. Combination from Ukraine, well, they were together 3 of the 4 at the 2021 Junior World Rowing Championships, where they rowed in the straight 4. That's with the exception of the 3-seat Bogdan Pladchenko.
And it's top 3 through to the final C, so the name of the game is not to come last. But it's not just about getting through to the next round of racing, to the final C. It's also about earning those middle lanes, which will give you a better advantage in order to look out either side of the boat and see where your opposition are. It's also a confidence boost here. And as we can see, Croatia come through the 1,500 meter. Only 5 meters back is Poland, 1 second between the two crews. They're going to want to put in a final push here as they come towards the 250s to make sure that they secure that favorable lane.
Croatia leading as they move through the 1,500 meter mark. Big second quarter, building speed through the third quarter has given them an advantage. The Poles will not let them out of their sight. So Mateusz Kozlowski in the stroke seat for Poland. Waszyniski in the 3-seat, Kot in 2. Senderaki in the bow for Poland. So tight up between these two leading crews, with Ukraine trailing behind them, then back to Egypt. Egypt at the moment then out of contention to advance on to that C final. Big swing from Croatia. The Poles keeping in really good touch with them as they close into the final 200 meters. Le Vrai Prou of Croatia up at 37 strokes per minute. The Poles matching them. The Poles actually take it up just another beat. They're the quickest moving boat at the moment, which means they're closing in on the Croatians. These two boats will know at this point, of course, that they'll be moving on to the C final. But the Poles really sending a message there at the end. It is Poland to take the win in the semifinal CD, followed by Croatia. Great sprint for Poland. Kozlowski in the stroke seat, and Ukraine now well through the line. Egypt in their final few strokes. So Egypt will race in the D final, with 1 through 3 moving on to the C final. Back up at the top then, fast and furious. It's the under-19 men's 4 semifinal CD2 with New Zealand, Australia, and Switzerland, the backs of the Australian combination. Joshua Felderhoff, Thomas Saunders, Adam Holland in the 3-seat, Jake Nesbitt in the stroke.
And that Australian crew was fastest out of their second rep, so I expect to see some speed from them here. As Colleen said, 1 and 2 to final C, the remaining crew to final D.
This Aussie combination making their international debut, leading New Zealand, and Switzerland trailing just behind New Zealand as they move through the second quarter toward the halfway point. The Aussies training at Gavarate Rowing Club, just south of where we are here at Lago di Varese.
But I can imagine that we're probably going to have some Swiss cowbells. I saw some of the athlete supporters carrying them, some of them bigger than than my head. So I'm sure that those will be out in full force as the athletes come through the 1,000-meter mark. Australia leads, followed by New Zealand, followed by the Swiss.
And a look then just behind. They're well through that halfway point, moving through the third quarter. The combination from New Zealand making their international debut as well. Cameron McGilvory in the stroke seat, Adam Wilson supporting that rhythm in 3, Nicholas Bryan and Henry Kirk in the bow. Quick look at this combination from Switzerland running third. Jonas Fry setting the rhythm up in stroke, 36 strokes per minute. Luka Jankovic, Robin Rucci, and Valentina Gosh in the bow.
Beautiful zoom out here gives us a great picture of what's going on. These athletes have to be in perfect harmony with each other, perfect synchronicity as they swing out, balancing port balancing starboard out. And as we can see there, the athletes come down. We actually have 2 of the boats bucket rigged. That means that they have 2 athletes on the same side of the boat, in the middle of the boat. That's a strategy that often helps the boat go nice and straight down the course.
And straight they are as they come towards us, still closing out that third quarter, looking for the 1,500-meter mark to indicate just 500 meters to go. Still riding with New Zealand and the Aussies up in front. Big swing, that rhythm really working for them. It's Jake Nesbitt up in the stroke seat, coached by William Raven. Just to the right, that's the crew from Switzerland. And to the left, New Zealand, maybe with a little bit of steering trouble. That looks like they've sorted that out.
Australia and New Zealand, always a friendly rivalry, much like my commentary here, U.S. and Canada. So I'm sure that they're going to want to put their mark on this race, not let anything go. First two through, I think we know who those crews are going to be, but who's going to get to the line first? Do you think the Kiwis have a push?
Yeah, we'll see what the Kiwis decide to do. They're up at 38 strokes per minute, the Aussies at 37. New Zealand at the quickest moving boat on the course at the moment, which means they are closing in on Australia. The question then becomes, is there enough time? Two boats to advance on to the C final. So Switzerland out of contention at the moment. Australia knows that they're going, barring any mistakes. New Zealand as well. But you certainly want to have your bow on the right side of the line, don't you?
Absolutely, and Australia's not leaving anything on the water here, up at 40 strokes per minute. Fastest moving boat on the water. They want to make an impact here. They're pushing for a boat length, maybe even open water, running out of room, but what a strong finish here as they come across the line.
It's Australia leading New Zealand by 1 length. Big swing from the Aussies as they come through. New Zealand through the line as well. It's Switzerland, Jonas Frey in the stroke seat, Robin Hust in the 2 seat. We saw both of them at the Junior World Championships last year in the Junior Men's 4. So in this very event, they were just off the podium. This year they will race in the D final.
All the athletes coming across the line to thunderous applause from the large contingents of supporters that both Australia, New Zealand, and Swiss have here.
Nice little wave from Thomas Saunders there. And we head back up to the start for the under-19 women's double sculls. Already moving through the second quarter of the race, times at the 500. South Africa leads, then Australia, the United States, Thailand, and Cyprus. Good look at the South African combination. Emma Gomes in the stroke seat, Tanya Strud in the bow.
This South African crew has put thousands of hours of work into this, incredibly hopeful, despite some trouble keeping in contact with the water because of those previously mentioned water plants covering their training area. But they will be bolstered by the South African contingent so far. We've seen some great results from them.
So Australia able to overhaul South Africa in the second quarter of the race, with the United States continuing to run third. Then it's back to Thailand and Cyprus. Look at this USA combination. It's Catherine Barry, Hannah Peters, Catherine's sister, racing in the U23 event. And the women's double, I believe, maybe pair, forgive me. But it's a family affair here for the Barrys, that's for sure. And Australia holding on to that rhythm. A look at this combination from Cyprus. Ekaterina Noskutova in the stroke seat. Katerina Cantuna in the bow.
This Thai combination, so excited to be here. I spoke with their coach earlier. They said that sometimes these athletes can come from less privileged backgrounds, and so the rowing gives them a pathway to higher education. So such commitment from these young athletes making their international debut. Just 1 year of rowing, and every day these athletes do training before and after their studies at the Thailand Rowing Center in Pattaya.
Back with the Americans, Hannah Peters in bow, Catherine Barry up in stroke, and her sister Ella Barry is in the under-23 women's single. So in the single, had a chance to meet their grandfather, who's here with other family members. It's a fantastic event to have family, friends, supporters all along the shore here in beautiful Lago di Varese. Up at the top, it's the Aussies, a look at stroke rate and margins down the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Australia, big second quarter, pushed them out into the lead. South Africa continuing to run second, then back to the United States. 3 boats will advance on to the C final, where they will contest for positions 13 through 18 overall. Great depth in the women's double sculls.
Absolutely phenomenal depth in this double sculls. We've seen a lot of countries prioritizing their smaller boats here, so as a result, it's been absolutely fierce competition. So to make it to this level is very exciting for a lot of athletes, certainly many of them making their international debut. that combination from Cyprus, who's trailing behind, though, Katerina Cantauna, excuse me, had her birthday yesterday. So what a place to celebrate your 16th birthday. Their coach was so proud. It's very exciting to watch them develop as athletes and as competitors.
It's a look at the lead that Australia has managed to take over the full field. Australia, 34 strokes per minute, that pace set by Talisa Knock-Driver, supported by Zoe Bond. And that overhead shot really gives you a sense of how that feels across all 6 lanes. Big swing, big press.
We can see the muscles in the back there, absolutely hanging, suspending off of those blades. Nice pry through the hips as they come towards the final closing stages. They'll be feeling very comfortable, indeed looking comfortable as they come through. Want to make sure that they get themselves in a good position. Not sure if they'll decide to sprint or not, but certainly trying to keep nice and loose, executing their race plan, enjoying the ride downhill as they row towards those red buoys.
Just behind them, South Africa out of the picture, leading the United States. Cyprus, Thailand, there's a look at the Americans. The Americans kick it up to 38 strokes per minute, coached by Amadeus Pietrzak. Catherine Barry setting the pace.
Australians look cool, calm, and collected as they glide towards the finish here. I think they can be very confident with this. A little bit left in the tank for the next race.
Big cheers for the Aussies as they come down from the grandstand where we're just seated alongside at the finish tower. Australia, 35 strokes per minute through the line. Big push for the Aussies. South Africa just behind. The Americans up at 40, back to 38 strokes per minute. That's the 1, 2, 3 that advance on to the C final, where they will contest for 13 through 18 overall in the U19 women's double sculls event. And let's look at the Aussies cooling down. Talisa Knock-Driver, Zoe Bond. And through the line, that's Cyprus, Luskutova, Cantuna, Thailand, Ponthida Thuptai, Naticha Kaihum. Back up at the start. That was the replay of the start for the under-19 women's double sculls. It's the second semifinal CD, same progression, 3 to advance on to the C final. With Spain leading, riding now with this combination. Aina Artemen, Castena, Claudia De Marco Castro in the bow. Halfway.
Such great rhythm there together. Their hands moving as one, as you can see those bubbles just forming along the bottom of the boat there. Spain first one through, followed by Mexico. That Mexican combination was formed about 2 weeks ago, but it's very exciting. The coach says they've worked consistently on improving from the heat to the rep, and in a U19 regatta like this, that's really where the growth happens, Colleen, from race to race.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So every race you're learning something new. It's a real testament to just picking up, getting that race experience under your belt, especially at the world standard here at the Under-19 World Rowing Championships. So it's a chance to come out, improve upon each race, and put together, ideally, the best possible race that you can for that last race in the final. That's what the Spaniards are doing. Aina Artemen Castaner, Claudia De Marco Castro of Spain. The Mexicans still riding in that close second. Naomi Mariras Franco, Ximena Castellanos Santimbanes in the bow.
And it looks like the race is developing for that last spot here as we come down towards about the 1,400 meter mark. Really interested to see what the Slovakian combination on our screen right now is going to do. They've been started training together this year, certainly have Olympic ambitions, tons of family support, and they list their role model as Sanita Puspua. They train together out of Slanava Piastani.
Good look at the full field. Moving through the 1,500 meter mark, times coming in just a moment. Continues to be Spain leading Mexico. Mexico closing the gap just a bit. We'll see if they're able to overhaul the Spaniards. It's Slovakia holding a steady third. Would take quite a bit of effort from Latvia, I'm afraid, at this stage in the race to put themselves in contention. We see the backs of the Latvian combination. Una Krasta, Kata Agare in the bow, and our leading combination from Spain. Holding off the Mexicans just barely. Mexico up at 37 strokes per minute. All three of these crews will know, barring any mistakes at this point, they're in contention to qualify, but certainly would be nice to win the semi-CD if you can.
Absolutely. What a confidence boost that would be. And really going there and executing your race plan, going to a place of discomfort, of pain, of mental toughness that you are going to experience in your final anyways is perfect training. We spoke earlier about the importance of learning from race to race. I'm sure all of these athletes are going to go dig deep, not leave anything on the water so that they can grow in that final and execute and hopefully go on to win the final C. Into the red buoys.
Spain didn't quite like that push from Mexico. They've been able to hold them off and push back just a little bit further. We see a sense of speed and margin down at the bottom, just 1 to 2 meters separating the Spaniards and the combination from Mexico. An absolute battle all the way to the line as they close into the final 20 strokes or so of their race. It continues to be Spain. Artemin Castana de Marco Castro in the bow for Spain, up 37 strokes per minute. Mexico just unable to overhaul them, but that's okay. They don't need to. They're on their way to the C final and then riding in fifth to capture that third place position. It's the combination from Slovakia, Anna Kublova, Simona Vaisova in the bow. That's the 1, 2, 3. Back to Latvia, Una Krasta, Kate Agare.
Job done here for the women's doubles. They'll be cooling down and setting their sights on the next part of their race.
We move on to the semifinal CD1 of the U19 men's double sculls. That's a replay of the start. We'll join them just shy of halfway. New Zealand leading from the start, leading through halfway. Into the third quarter, Slovenia second across through Norway. That's the 1, 2, 3. Romania running fourth. Romania able to overhaul Japan in the second quarter of the race. Then it's back to Denmark, who's been a steady sixth for the first half of this race, with 3 to move on to the C final.
And let me tell you, I'm so excited to see this New Zealand double in front. Bow is Dylan Merton from Marlborough Boys School. In stroke, there's Edward or Ned Botherway from the South Island. They both train out of a small club called Wairo. But Ned was actually coached by Will Satch at Christchurch College, and he credits him with a lot of his growth. And his parents are in the stands today, and his grandmother actually competing and medaling at 4 World Masters games. So plenty of legacy there in the family. So excited, how proud they must be to see him out in front. Top 3 through to final C.
To look at the Slovenians, Matej Markuza, Gabriel Potocnik, and the backs of the Romanian combination, Ovidiu Cristian Badier, Sebastian Alexandru Tasca for Romania. Moving well into the third quarter, we'll have times in just a moment for that 1,500 meter mark. with 3 to go on. Norway up at the top, having a bit of a private battle with Slovenia. Then it's back to Romania and Japan, still in contention as well. So Norway leading New Zealand over to Slovenia, and a really, really close Japan. Yotaro Narusio in the stroke seat, Takumi Nawakatami in the bow seat.
27 entries. It needed 4 quarterfinals for this. Another deep field here as we see the top 3 battling it out. I wouldn't count out the Romanians. We know that they've got a sprint, but this is going to be such an exciting finish here as they come through well towards the red buoys. The athletes are going to want to lay it all on the line to get their nose out in front. I think that we can expect a really exciting sprint here as we see the athletes starting to wind. Japan at 37, New Zealand at 36, and indeed the entire field at 36.
Norway leads back to Slovenia, Romania. Romania has managed to push Japan, but look at New Zealand. Norway leading, Slovenia running second, New Zealand running third. So tight with the Romanians. It'll be heartbreak for Japan, but so tight up at the top of the field. Norway holds. The battle happening behind them, though, pulling the rest of these crews closer as they move into the final 200 meters. It's looking good for Marius Antonsen time of Norway up in the stroke seat. 38 strokes per minute. Just behind him, Slovenia looking safe. Romania able to push back New Zealand. Japan now in closest contention. Absolutely thrilling to watch these crews move through the final stages of the race. Norway by half a length, maybe even a bow deck. We'll have unofficial times in just a moment. Marius Antonsen time in the stroke seat for Norway. Eric Hein in the bow seat. An absolutely fantastic effort for all of these crews as Denmark comes through the line as well, and we pan across. It is Norway to get through, Slovenia to capture second, and Romania to take that third qualifying position.
A testament to the depth of the field to have a final like that. So exciting, this racing that we're going to have, and it's only the semifinals.
That was a replay of the start of the U19 men's double sculls, riding now with the Lithuanians out of lane 1. Up at the top of the field, but out of the picture, it's the combination from Greece. Panagiotis Mikragiannis in the stroke seat. Leonidis Kaptis in the bow. That's Lithuania, though. Matejas Cernavicius, Vilius Tonkas in bow seat. Just next to them, it's Latvia, Andris Klavins, Patrick Strazd.
And keep your eye on Ireland. They were 4th at the 500, now moving into 2nd. They missed the A-B cutoff by 0.24 seconds. Another close semifinal, so, quarterfinal. So I can expect some great racing from all of these athletes as we see them come through the line here.
Good view of the full field. Up at the top continues to be this combination from Greece. Panagiotis Makrigiannis, just 15 years old, and setting down an absolutely beautiful rhythm that's keeping him and his teammate Leonidas Kapidis ahead of this full 6-boat race. 34 strokes per minute, then it's over to Ireland. Kieran O'Sullivan, Fergus Bryce in the bow for Team Ireland. Back to Latvia, who's managed to push Lithuania a little bit away. Andris Klavins, Patrick Strauss in the bow. And riding now with our leaders, the Greek combination.
Little look out of the right-hand side there from the bowman, Leonidas Kopidis. He's going to want to make sure that he knows exactly where everybody is. That's the benefit of being in that middle lane, is you have a great view. And here, what a view we have. This full 6-boat race. And it does look like there's going to be some contention here. Top 3 through to final C.
Times are in at 1,500 down. Greece continues to lead, just less than a second and a half off of their pace. It is Ireland over to Latvia, Lithuania, closest to contention of getting into the C final, but out of it at the moment. Then back to Thailand and Cyprus, and just a phenomenal view of Greece. I'd say Team Ireland looking to close that gap a little bit. We know that the Irish across both the men and women's side, U19, U23, up to the senior level, they tend to have patient first 500-meter stretches, first half of the race, and really build speed in the second half. We're seeing that materialize for Kieran O'Sullivan, Fergus Bryce, coached by Janet Walsh. It is Ireland for the first time to put their bow ahead of Greece.
Fastest moving boat on the water. The Irish are up at 37, and they're looking to push ahead of that Greek combination, and indeed they do. There's that look, so powerful. Look at the length that they're getting out. They're really compressing their legs down. We're into those red buoys. That means 250 meters, and look at these 4 boats across. It's going to be exciting who takes that 1, 2, 3 spot.
Kieran O'Sullivan takes it up to 38 strokes per minute. Ireland leading with command over this race. They were 4th at the 500-meter point, 2nd at the 1,000, 2nd at the 1,500, and they lead now in style by open water. It is Kieran O'Sullivan, Fergus Bryce to win the semifinal CD. Greece then coming through the line to capture 2nd. An absolutely thrilling finish for the Irish, and you can see Team Ireland quite pleased with that as well. So it is Ireland over to Greece, a good 3 seconds off of their time in the end, and Latvia to capture that 3rd spot, which means Lithuania, Cyprus, and Thailand will contest the D final, with Ireland, Greece, and Latvia contesting the C final. That was the replay for the U19 men's single sculls up at the top of the race course. Semifinal CD is well off the starting blocks and through the first 500-meter stretch into the 2nd quarter. We're riding now with Moldova and Estonia. Roman Maronenko of Moldova, Christopher Hein of Estonia. You see Hein just look over his left shoulder. These 2 crews so close. Slight advantage to the Estonian sculler. Moldova just behind him. Tunisia in the mix as well. Mohammed Ryan Hafsa for Tunisia, and an absolutely beautiful shot as they move through the 2nd quarter. Out of the picture, but up at the top of the field, well, the United States leads Switzerland.
And Charles Bolton, that American shell, had the fastest quarterfinal, missed out by the AB semifinal by 0.5 seconds. Again, such a deep field, 4 quarterfinals needed to sort these athletes out. He looks like he's trying to really make a statement here, taking a decisive lead as he is about to move through the 1,000 meters. We'll wait for those times to populate in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
The men's single sculls on the U19 side among the biggest event in terms of entrance. So lots of depth in this field as the times come through for the halfway. It is the American Charles Bolt, first at the 500 point, first through that 1,000-meter stretch. Charles Bolt, the 17-year-old, making his international debut.
Not surprising to see the Swiss athlete Nicholas Chambers in 2nd place. He won his rep, and we certainly expect good things from him here. It's top 3 through to final C. Taking a look, everyone at a cool low 30s here, although the Swiss athlete up at 33, closing his margin on the American. Do you think that the American is in trouble here?
I don't know. Charles Bolt says that he brings an espresso machine to every regatta, so he's got an extra bit of caffeine, an extra bit of pep in his step, and certainly all of his training and efforts has led him to this moment to lead this semifinal CD. Probably a bit more helpful than the caffeine, but paying off for him nonetheless to have that with him. He's up at the top of the field, 32 strokes per minute, and he's led the entire way down, so we'll get a sense of what the race strategy looks like for Charles Bolt as he moves through with 7:50 to go. United States leads Switzerland, a really close third between Kazakhstan and Estonia. Artem Matasusevic from Kazakhstan and Christopher Hein of Estonia.
Really impressed with that Kazakhstan athlete. Slow off the start, last at the 500 meters. He's navigated his way into a third place position, now trailing just 8 meters or 7 meters behind the leader. So he certainly has had a great last half here. So now the question remains, what is going to develop in that last 500 meters? You can see they're close to Estonia. And if Estonia has a sprint, who knows? It's top 3 through to final C. What are you thinking here at this stage of the race?
Yeah, this stage of the race is when it's really time to go, isn't it? So first 1,000 down, first 1,500 meter down, final 500, really setting yourselves up for the final 250 meters. So tight up at the top of the field. Again, 3 to advance, so top 3 is where you want to be. Looking good for the USA and Switzerland. That's Nicolas Chambaz of Switzerland. That battle up at the top. But the real race, the race for that last qualifying position, well, that's between Kazakhstan and Estonia. So Artem Matasusevic of Kazakhstan out of lane 1. Christopher Hein, who's been able to push away the rest of the field, nearly level as they come through this final stage.
I'm predicting a sprint to the finish here. I'm so impressed with Nicholas Chambers. He's been just eating away at Charles Bolt's lead as they come through. Red buoys here, pride's on the line. First 3 through to final C. Let's watch this sprint together.
Charles Bolt able to hold off the Swiss sculler Nicolas Chambaz. In fact, he opens up the advantage moving through the final 250 meters. It is Charles Bolt leading semifinal CD back to Switzerland. The race for third, well, it's looking really good in favor of Estonia at the moment. Christopher Hein over Artem Matasusevic of Kazakhstan. Absolutely incredible as they come through. Fantastic semifinal CD and such a thrill to watch. Charles Bolt with a big final 250 takes him 2.5 seconds ahead of Nicolas Chambaz of Switzerland. He's quite pleased with that result. Gives a thumbs up to the competitors just next to him and to the grandstand. It is Christopher Hein of Estonia to take that third spot. Then back to Kazakhstan, Mohamed Ryan Hafsa of Tunisia for 5th. And Moldova to take 6th, Roman Maranenko. We're riding now with the Norwegian sculler, Ulrik Farahun of Norway. Semifinal CD2 of the U19 men's single sculls sees the same progression. Norway leads.
Keep your eye on Chinese Taipei, Xinchen Lin. He won his repechage to earn his lane here at the semifinal CD. Top 3 through to final C. And as we look at the leaderboard, we have Taipei in first place. Just in second place with Norway coming through first. I expect a little tussle as those two exchange places. In third, we have Paraguay.
Times are in for the halfway point.
The single is a long, lonely boat. It's just you by yourself. It's beautiful in that all of your failures are your own. All of your successes are your own. You're your own cox. So a lot of self-talk in this boat, a lot of mental toughness in this boat. It's you versus yourself. How long can you sit in the pain? How focused can you be in executing your race plan? These athletes will all have practiced this time and time again. They'll have a word or a call for those key moments in the race, knowing when it's time to go, taking a look out, and understanding what the job is. We have red light moments, as I like to call them. If you're falling behind, you need to go soon, power 10, and maybe we'll see that from one of these athletes. But right now, they're all looking very strong, very confident. Look at that accelerated finish in the boat in front of us.
Christian Rige of Uruguay out of lane 6. Running 6th at the moment as they move through the 3rd quarter of the race. Up at the top of the field continues to be Norway, Ulrik Ferro-Luna. The men's and women's U19 single sculls are often an opportunity for young, talented athletes to shine, to represent their nation, and the U19 men's single sculls sees the biggest entry across the board. That's the 1,500 meter mark as the times populate in the bottom right-hand side graphic. Norway continuing to hold just a big advantage over the rest of the field. It is Lindsay Chen from Taipei to run 2nd, then Oscar Santos of Paraguay to hold that 3rd qualifying position. Then back to Vanuatu, Antoni Bonka and Joshua Nikocic of Croatia, Christian Rige of Uruguay.
And we can see Norway there leading the way in this chevron as he controls the race from in front. Such a great advantage to be able to see the entire race behind you, to fend off any attacks. He'll allow the athlete to decide if he wants to conserve his energy for that very important final C that he looks like he's all but sewn up. And as we see them come towards, look at that decisive, imperious lead that he has opened up. A gorgeous overhead shot there as we watch those dark puddles being pushed away as the athlete. A couple cheers from the grandstand there into the last 250. Colleen, how's the race unfolding?
Yes, it's Ulrik Ferro-Luna up at the top. We're riding at the moment with Christian Rige of Uruguay. Takes it up to 37 strokes per minute, running 6th, but making a fantastic effort through the remaining stretch of the semifinal CD. It is Luna from Norway, whom we saw in the junior men's double at the Junior World Championships last year, finishing 10th overall. He's moved into the single for this season and won by a great margin the semifinal CD, so we'll see him in the C final. 2nd at the 500 meter mark, and a strong 2nd quarter of the race brought him into that 1st place position. Luna of Norway, back to Lindsay Chen of Taipei. Oscar Santos of Paraguay to capture the 3rd spot. Then back to Vanuatu, Croatia, and Uruguay. Ulrik Ferro-Luna taking a moment to cool down. It's getting a little bit hotter here in Lago di Varese.
It certainly is. That Italian sun is out. Perfect conditions as an athlete. This is just what you want to race in.
Well, that's the replay for the U19 men's pair semifinal AB1. So the athletes on the course now racing to get into the A final. The previous rounds, we've seen semifinals CD. Semifinal AB means that this is the last chance to get into the medals final to contest for positions 1 through 6. So much on the line. We join them just through the halfway point. Slovenia leads, Italy running 2nd, Serbia running 3rd. 3 boats to qualify for the A final, the 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Slovenia, Italy, Serbia. Running 4th, just out of contention, is the Netherlands.
And this is absolutely right. It's the most important race so far. If you want to get into that, have a shot at the medals, you need to come top 3 for these crews. We can see them absolutely powering down the course here. Those blades are long blades, about 3.5 meters. They're placing them as far behind as they possibly can, pushing with the same amount of power on either side. So much talent needed to make this boat go fast and straight, in my opinion, one of the most challenging boats to race. And these athletes are giving everything as they come down the course. Raw power meets poise.
That's a look at the South African combination of Mark Carriera, Connor McElway in the bow. South Africa out of contention for one of those 3 spots at the moment, running 6th. We head back up to where the race is getting really, really hot for that 3rd place position. So Slovenia's leading, Italy now running second. Back to Serbia. That's the Netherlands on the left-hand side of the screen. The Slovenians just ahead of them. The Slovenians are leaders, Arne Savršnik in the bow and Jakub Berglevs in the stroke seat.
Slovenia powering through first to the 1500. Italia close behind. They'll be excited to have a whole bunch of cheers from the hometown advantage here at Lago di Varese. We know it's top three through, and although it looks like it might be that top three is forming, these athletes will leave nothing on the water, and I expect them to power all the way to the finish as they start heading towards that final 250 mark here.
Italy challenging Slovenia now at the moment. This Italian combination, the gold winners of the junior men's four last year, the 21 Junior World Rowing Championships. They took gold in the junior men's four at the European Junior Championships back in 2021, and they've now overhauled Slovenia, but just barely. Slovenia with an answer for them. It's Jakub Berglev, Arne Savršnik in the bow seat for Slovenia. Italy is Slovenia, an absolute battle up at the top. It's Marco Vicino, Luca Vicino in the bow seat, twins in the Italian combination coached by Franco Cataneo. Surely he's on shore cheering for them, as the full grandstand is as well. Italy leads Slovenia, then back to Serbia.
And here come the Italians absolutely charging, raising their rate. We're almost at the final buoy. You can hear the athletes cheering their teammates on in the stands, Colleen.
Yeah, you can. Absolute mayhem in the grandstand at the moment for the Italians, just going crazy. It is Italy. Italy third early in the race. They moved into second, and they've just overhauled Slovenia to take first in semifinal A, B. We'll see them in the final. As Luca in the tower would say, arrivederci. It is Italy in first, Slovenia to capture that second qualifying position. Back to Serbia, about 2 seconds off of Italy's winning time. Heartbreak for the Netherlands. They miss out on a chance to race the A final. They'll contest the B final along with Austria and South Africa. Second semifinal for the under-19 men's pair. Replay of the start. We join them about 750 meters in, where Germany leads. Kieran Hultas, Vincent Kuhn in the bow. Big swing, great effort through the water, 37 strokes per minute. Looking for an early advantage.
Looking calm, cool, and collected as they anchor that blade in the water, pushing off the foot stretcher. We have a great shot here of that compression as they connect and then push, prying open with those bodies, using those strong arms just to accelerate the final little bit. And here at the 1,000-meter mark, such a pivotal part where we see the fields sometimes split. Germany leads, but Romania is chasing them down, and a tussle for third between Greece and Turkey.
Times at the halfway point. Kieran Hultas, the stroke seat of the German U19 pair, took silver at the junior men's, in the junior men's pair last year, so this very event back in 2021 at the Junior Worlds. And a look at the backs of Romania and France.
Quite often we see such a high caliber of racing in these semifinal A, Bs, because it's all to play. You want to get yourself into a position to contend for a medal here. So these athletes won't be content to just sit at the front. They'll want to push out ahead. They'll want to make sure that they take a decisive lead and make a statement, not just for their own mental toughness, but also to create an opportunity to be in one of those middle lanes.
Germany, Romania, Greece, that's the 1, 2, 3 in contention to compete in the A final. The closest threat to Greece, well, that's Turkey just behind them. So Turkey keeping a really good touch as these athletes move toward the line. The Romanians, well, great pedigree in that shell as well. Both of these athletes taking gold at the European Junior Championships back in 2021. And at the juniors last year, Natush in the stroke seat, claiming a gold medal in the junior men's pair. So in this very event, looking to defend that title. They haven't quite overhauled the Germans. They don't need to, though they are bow ball by bow ball as they move through the final stretch of this race. So it's Germany up at the front, Romania just barely overhauling. We get a sense at times at the 1500, but just past that, the Romanians get their bow ahead of the Germans. Then it is back to Greece. Turkey will need to go now.
The Romanians putting pressure there as they contend for the lead of the field. Germany will have to decide if they're going to respond or not as they take a look out of the left, an encouraging yell to their teammates, and on they go, knowing that those buoys are going to turn red soon. And once you get into those red buoys, we all know what that means. Last 250, running out of meters, time to do something special. Still looking cool, calm, and collected in the German boat on your screen there, rate 37, but Turkey and Romania fastest moving boats on the water.
Romania making a big press. Iluta Lentonuș in the stroke seat for Romania, the defending champion at the junior level in this event. He's teamed up with the bow seat, Andrei Vatamanuș, to come together at the 2022 season and see if they can put on that performance again. His teammate taking fourth in the junior men's 8 last year, so they'll be looking to capture a medal in the A final. They will be one to watch in the next round. What a big third quarter for the Romanians. Third in the early stages, second at halfway, second at the 1500, and an open water advantage. Just beautiful for Romania as they come through the line. It is Romania over Germany. Romania about 2.5 seconds ahead of the Germans. Quite pleased, as they should be, with that result, and a nice wave from Vatamanuș in the bow. And for that third spot, it was indeed Turkey with a big push over Greece to move into the A final. That's the replay for the U19 men's 4, whom we joined 750 meters in. Riding with Romania. Romania out of lane 5, Great Britain lane 4, just alongside them. GB leading in the U19 men's 4, Alexander Forbes in the stroke seat. Joshua Brangen in 3, Cameron Tasker in 2, Saxton Stacey in the bow.
And GB had the fastest time of their heat with 6:07, so certainly one to watch here as they come towards the 1,000 meter with the fastest speed on the field, and indeed first through the line. Germany close behind, Romania just behind them, Hungary falling behind despite being almost level at the 500 with Romania. 19 crews down to these final 12 in the semifinal A, B. We have 2 of these semifinals today.
This combination from Great Britain making their international debut, all 18 years old. Setting the pace up at the top, 36 strokes per minute. It's back then closest in contention, but a good 20 meters or so between them. It's Germany with Romania looking to capture that third qualifying position. Marian Stefan Dunca in the stroke seat for Romania.
Many of the crews going up and down the slide at rate 38, and they're balancing at the same time that incredibly narrow shell, using their oars as kind of a balance beam as they come forward. That means the blades have to be perfectly off the water. The hands have to all be level the entire way through that recovery while you're doing the hardest thing you've ever done, which is pushing off those legs, trying to keep the boat straight. It really is such a beautiful sport. What we're seeing here, and the balance that you need is absolutely incredible.
Great Britain continuing to walk away from the rest of the field in the third 500. We'll have times up in just a moment as they float in. So it is Great Britain. You'll see Germany and Romania having a battle just behind them. It's a look at the combination from Germany on the left side. Jasper Schultz, just 16 years old in the stroke seat for Germany. And Germany just a hair ahead of Romania. Marian Stefan Dunca in the stroke seat for Romania.
If you can get through the top three, you have a chance at a medal in the A final. So everyone on this field knows what's at stake here. And they need to absolutely make sure that they stay focused on their race plan. You'll hear the bow there calling out to them. The stroke seat will have his stroke coach in front of him telling him how fast he is, what stroke rate they're at. And indeed, we can see those stroke rates are about to go up. Romania up at 40. Watch out for that sprint as they come through to the red buoys.
Great Britain leading at a cool 36 stroke per minute. This round, of course, need to get into the A final, so top three, but it's also a chance to test strategies, tactics, race rhythm against one another going into the next round. And GB knows in this moment they don't need to go any higher. Looking really clean as they come through this final stretch. It's Great Britain with an open water advantage in the U19 men's four. Romania able to push the Germans back. Romania 40 strokes per minute to capture second. Then over to Germany to capture that third place position. Great effort from GB all the way down. It's Romania running second, then back to Germany. Jasper Schultz, the 16-year-old, leading them down the course. Hungary then to capture fourth. Hungary, Austria, and Serbia will contest the B final.
And a great display of showmanship there from the GB team as they congratulate their fellow competitors.
That's the replay of the junior men's four, semifinal AB2. So we've just seen the top three that will contest the A final in the last semifinal AB1. Great Britain and Germany and Romania. Now the question, who will join them? 750 down, Italy leads a very close second between the Czech Republic and Denmark, then back to Spain with the United States and Canada trailing.
That Italian combination up at a punishing 41 through the 800 meters here. They're not leaving anything on the course and are challenging for those top three positions. Again, going through to the medal ceremony. Great shot there of the Canadians. Love to see that maple leaf only on our blades during World Championships or Olympics. So that's a special moment for all of those athletes as they race through to have their best race here, top three through to final A.
Approaching halfway, Italy leading, showing no sign of settling the stroke rate. That's 40 strokes per minute. The Italians, just gutsy racers, love to watch them row a 2,000 meter piece, and especially in the final stages of the race. Italy leads Denmark, the Czech Republic holding on to that third qualifying position. Closest in contention then would be Spain.
Gutsy indeed, and they need to be with the field closing up behind them. They're about to come to the 1,000 meter mark. This is where you need to put a push. The athletes will have to give more to get the same. Legs are going to be screaming here. Your lungs are going to be gasping for breath as you're halfway through, but it's all downhill from here as they come towards the last 750. Absolutely sticking to their plan, executing, and pushing those dark puddles away.
Mid-third 500, and Italy continuing to lead. Denmark making a bit of an effort over the last couple of 100 meters to pull themselves not quite ahead of the Italians, but certainly close. They're 4 beats lower in terms of stroke rate, so Denmark rowing 37 strokes per minute, just edging their bow ahead over the Italians. All 4 of these Danish athletes returning from the Junior World Championship back in 2021, where they took 8th in this very event in the junior men's 4. So they've stayed together for the 2022 season. We see the back of Simon Mikkelsen of Denmark, stroked by Tobias Kramer-Bosnes. It is Denmark leading Italy by just a hair, with the Czech Republic holding on to that third qualifying position as times roll in at the 1500.
The Italians still up at 41. I wonder where they have to go from there. They've absolutely left nothing behind here. Very brave race, very gutsy. So now the question remains, can they maintain it all the way through the finish here as we see the boats continue, are about to hit the 500-meter mark.
Italy takes it up to 42 strokes per minute. Giorgio Maddaloni in the stroke seat, charging down, closing in on the final stages of this race, just into the red buoy zone. Denmark, a little bit of a patient strategy, but have managed to push themselves up to the top of the field, making sure that their ticket is punched for the A final. Denmark, 39 strokes per minute. Tobias Kramer-Bosnes setting the rhythm. And just a great shot at our three contestants for that A final, looking really good for them in the closing bit.
The Danish left themselves somewhere to go. They're up pushing 40 now, with Italians trying to hold on at 43, but it's not going to be enough. Denmark is hurtling towards the finish line.
Denmark in the final stretch, a beautiful sight to see. They now lead the Italians by a length, certainly sending a message for the race to come in the A final. This very experienced Danish combination, as mentioned, all four raced together in the junior men's four in this very category last year. They took second in the B final, and this year, well, they've come back. They will race in the A final. I'm sure quite an emotional sort of reunion for them. They punched their ticket, and that means that there's a chance to capture the gold.
Pink socks in the water, cooling down, job done, and you can see the celebration there from the athletes. How exciting.
Denmark, Italy, and the Czech Republic will contest the A final. That's the replay of the U19 women's quadruple sculls underway, with two semifinals, and this is the first. That's the backs of the Romanian combination. Romania running second at the moment, only to the Netherlands. Anna Maria Matron in the stroke seat, and Andrea Todirica in the bow. It's the full field.
Early stages of this as an athlete, you've had about a 30 stroke, 40 stroke start. You're now coming down into your race pace rhythm, making sure that you don't go out too hard, too fast while staying competitive. A lot of decision making on the fly here for these athletes. They're going to want to race their own race, but not forget the rest of the field, because as we know, as with the previous races, you have to finish in this top three to get into contention for a medal in the A final.
The bow of South Africa, Jean Ryman in the stroke seat, Carrie Grunlin in three, Brigitte Kapler in two, and Halle Cruz in the bow. The full field, well, it's Greece out of lane one, just out of the picture. South Africa, whom we just saw, that's Romania at the top, Germany in the center. Alongside them, the leading shell, the Netherlands, and then back to Canada running sixth. Crews
1, 2, 3, 4 staying the same from the 500 meters, so we'll see if there's going to be a shakeup in the last half of this race. We see those athletes pulling that boat right underneath them as they place their blades and then anchor it and push the boat past. The quad is such a technical boat to race. You have to be in absolutely perfect rhythm, perfect timing with each other. And we can see there that the athletes are laser focused on the backs of the athlete in front of them, following that stroke seat.
Riding with the Netherlands, who have just been passed by Germany. Tunje Mole in the two seat, just 15 years old, making her international debut. Her teammate Amelie Carrie in the stroke seat, racing in this very event. At the European Junior Championships last year, taking 8th overall. all but the bow, have not yet raced at the Junior World Championships. So Lina Schwartz in the bow, bringing that leadership. We see her back there, closest to us. The Netherlands just behind of Germany. Over to Romania, running third.
Germany and Romania down at lower stroke rates. 34th for the Germans, 33 for the Romanians. We know that the Romanians have fantastic sprint in them. We've seen it time and time again. So really watch out for them in the final closing stages.
The Romanian stroke seat, Anna Maria Matron. We saw last year at the Junior World Championships in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. She finished 9th overall, so in the B final, and looking to get a spot in the A final this year. So moving from the single into the quad and ideally onto the podium, which is where all of these athletes want to be. It's Germany leading the Netherlands and back to Romania in the final 500-meter stretch.
To me, it looks like these crews are all staying in touch with each other, making sure that they have space to go in that final 250, comfortable in their lead, comfortable that they've gotten it locked up for the 1, 2, 3, and steeling themselves for those red buoys to put in a final sprint to practice their race medal sprint, perhaps, that they can use in the A final. And what a quad final it is going to be. And here they go.
That's a look at Germany. Germany answering the charge from the Netherlands. Big push from Germany sees them out ahead. So they overhauled the Netherlands earlier in the race, executing on the final 500 meters of their sprint. And speaking of sprints, the Netherlands kicks it up to 41 strokes per minute. Amelie Carré in the stroke seat, charging towards the line. Romania has managed to overhaul the Netherlands. So Romania third at the 1500 has slipped into second behind the Germans. Fantastic end to the semifinal A, B. And a job well done. It is Germany to capture that first place position. Charlotte Luster in the stroke seat, followed by Romania. Big fourth quarter for Romania. And then back to the Netherlands. So we'll see all three of these crews in the A final. And the next semifinal that we'll see in just a moment will tell us who will join Germany, Romania, and the Netherlands. Well, we'll have a sense of those three crews very shortly. That was the replay of the start for the under-19 women's quadruple sculls.
Looking at the back here, we can see that Polish crew, bow of Kinga Kusiowiska. Looking over to her left, no doubt calling to her crews, making sure that they are staying focused in these early days. Look at that blade work as blades just get placed in and gone.
Through the 500, Great Britain led with Poland running second, and over to the United States running third. Back to Italy, then Ireland and New Zealand. We'll have a sense in just a moment of what's progressing in the second quarter. That's the full field.
What a great shot here. Really gives you a perspective, doesn't it, on how wide these lanes are and indeed how long this race is. These athletes are not even at the halfway mark yet. So this is exciting. There's a long way to go, long space for you to make some changes. These crews will have practiced their race plan time and time again. They'll know exactly what they're going to do, how they're going to execute it. But we know what the job is. Top three through to final A. Such a technical boat, the women's quad, isn't it, Colleen?
Yeah, it's a technical boat, and it's a fast-moving boat, isn't it? So the quad, 4 people, 2 oars. These shells really fly.
And through the 1,000-meter bottom right-hand corner, we're starting to see some of the times come through. GB leads Poland and the U.S., not far behind, certainly in contention, followed by Italy.
The GB combination, Matilda Druitt, Megan Knight, Laura Burton, Alice McCarthy. Big push in the first half gets them down to the 1,000 first. We're riding now, though, with the Americans, Heather Schmidt, Killian Mullen, Ava Schletlik. and Alice Duma in the bow.
Probably one word going through everyone's head right now: opportunity. And this is where the opportunity is. Opportunity to have a shot at those medals, but it only works if you're in those top 3 spots. Everyone wants it, but who believes that they can get it? So this is where we see the field start to separate. Athletes make decisions, dig a little bit deeper, allow themselves not to get distracted by the pain, and stay present. And this GB crew that we're seeing from the back here certainly looks present as they continue to move through the field. First at the 1500, followed by USA and Poland with a tussle for that second and third position, Colleen.
GB, new combination. Matilda Druert, 17 years old in the stroke seat. That rhythm really working quite nicely for them at 36 strokes per minute. The United States running just behind them. And there's a look at this combination from the USA. So up in the stroke seat, Heather Schmidt from Niskayuna Rowing Club, Killian Mullen from Chicago Rowing Foundation, Ava Shetlick from Virginia, and Alice Duma from Redwood Scullers.
USA still comfortably in second there, extending their lead at 37 over the crew from Poland at 36. But it's GB still in front as the fastest moving boat on the water at 37 as see those buoys turn red, and I expect that we're going to see some rate increases here.
And it's looking like a fantastic finish to semifinal AB2. Great Britain holding on to the advantage up at 38 strokes per minute. So a bit of a sprint from GB, though they don't quite need it to get into the A final. It's the United States running just behind them and holding on to that third place position pretty comfortably. It's Poland. So Poland second, running second in the first half of the race, moving into third, overhauled by the Americans. That's the 1, 2, 3. So Great Britain, the United States to take second, just under 2 seconds off of GB's time. And then back to Poland. So those 3, GB, USA, Poland will join Romania, Germany, and the Netherlands in the A final for the women's quadruple sculls. We head back up to the start. That's the replay of the under-19 men's quadruple sculls. Beautiful shot of bow number 3. That's Italy. The full field is Switzerland, Bulgaria, Italy, Greece, Poland, and the Netherlands.
Italy leads here, followed by Greece, followed by Bulgaria, but I wouldn't write off any of the crews yet at these early stages. Plenty of depth in all the crews, including the Dutch combination coached by Kees Madijk, Gentle Giant, who won gold in Atlanta in the Dutch 8.
Gentle Giant. Times are in for the halfway point. A great start for Italy. The hometown heroes. Greece running second, then back to Bulgaria.
And here we are at the 1,000-meter. Again, this is where the athletes have to give a little bit more to get the same, and indeed you can see the concentration on that Polish crew. You can just put yourself in their seat, if you'll pardon the pun, and imagine what pain they must be in. And they have been for a little while, and there's still plenty of race left here. It's going to take a full 2 kilometers, but you can see them pulling together there, accelerated finishes, off the foot stretcher, surging towards the next buoys.
This Italian combination of Marco Gandola, Matteo Belgheri, Maccio Brambilla, and Stefano Solano in the bow, leading just out of the picture, but up at the top of the field. That's a look at the crew from the Netherlands for a moment, out of lane 6. Vassing, Imeka, Kier, and Florent in the bow. Combination from Italy, though, Varese Rowing Club, Brambilla in the 2-seat, representing Varese, hometown. And in the 3-seat, Matteo Belgheri Well, his father's a bit of a hero too, so he's the past president of Italian rowing and a world champion, the 1986 world champion in the men's double. So certainly someone to look up to, and some of that speed, I'm sure, translating into this shell for the Italians.
The race developing between Poland and Bulgaria is going to be fun to watch, so keep an eye on those two crews here. Only top three first, so it looks like there is going to be some contention for that final third spot. A look at the back here of that Greek combination. Arms together, a little look out of bow, wanting to make sure he knows exactly where they are and where they need to go in order to secure those spots. Those oars bending through the water as the athletes surge forwards.
At the top of the field, Italy leading that Greek combination whom we just saw riding second. Poland riding third, their closest threat, the Bulgarians. It's a big look at the Italians as they close into the final stages of their race. The grandstand just delighted to see Team Italy up at the top. Semifinal A-B, last chance to get into the A final, into the medals final, if you like. Marco Gandola of Italy, 36 strokes per minute, leading his crew there. The Greeks look safe, and heartbreak for the Bulgarians because Poland takes a really big push to secure third. Jakubczyk in the stroke seat for Poland. Igor Strakunsky in the 3 seat, Michal Rand in 2, and Makub Yeski in the bow. So it's Italy, Greece, and Poland. That's the 1, 2, 3 for the A final of the under-19 men's quadruple sculls. The Greeks able to close a good second or so on the Italians in the final 500 of the race. So a nice sprint for Greece. Not quite able to get their bow ahead of Italy. Off the starting blocks, that was the replay of the U19 men's quadruple sculls semifinal A, B2. Which 3 crews will join our winners from the prior race?
And it's Germany in first as the fastest moving boat in these very early stages of the race. But GB in the US are not going to let them go easily as they settle into their race rhythm here at Lago di Varese. Semifinal A, B, 3 through to final A, and that's where you want to be, Colleen.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly where you want to be, and especially at this stage of the race. So these athletes, these 6 crews, Romania, USA, Czech Republic, Ukraine, Great Britain, and Germany, they've done everything right, haven't they, all week? One race at a time, one round at a time. It's brought them to this opportunity, to this moment to contest for position in the A final, in the medals race. At the halfway point, Germany, Czech Republic, Great Britain in contention for those 3 spots.
You're right. Maturity is the name of the game here. Each opportunity for racing, you're going to develop your race plan. You're going to have a better idea of what race calls works, what strategy works, and a mark of a good athlete is to be able to take a bad stroke, continue to move on, perhaps have a bad race, continue to move on, and grow through that failure. Fail forward, if you will, and leave it behind them as they push towards this race where it all counts, getting to the top 3. Most important race of the regatta, so I'm sure that the nerves were on, and we can look at the faces of the athlete as they grit their way through that. Germany looking so strong there as they continue to lead with the fastest boat speed on the water.
We'll pan over the full field then and get a sense in the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Well, that's the graphic indicating meters per stroke. So how far these boats are moving each stroke gives you a sense of speed and application of power through the water. The Germans doing it best at the moment. Out of lane 6, leading 36 strokes per minute. And a good look at the combination from GB just alongside them out of lane 5. Great Britain running 4th, the United States able to move their bow just ahead. So the US running 4th at the halfway point, now slipping into 3rd, which could qualify them, which would qualify them for the A final if they're able to hold this pace. So Germany running 1st, Czech Republic holding that 2nd qualifying spot. The United States, if they can hold off Great Britain, could well capture that 3rd position.
That's the race to watch here to unfold between the United States and GB. They may have to go soon here, running out of real estate to secure that spot. All the athletes will want to have a comfortable margin. And although I think that we have one for the leaders, the rest of the pack is starting to close up.
In the prior round, less than a second separated Germany and the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic, well, it went their way in that heat. So these two have raced against one another before. They're up against one another again. This time, it's looking like Germany may well be able to get their bow ahead of the Czech Republic. Absolutely incredible as they come towards the line. It is Germany, well, at the moment, about 1 meter separating them at the top of the field. In that fight for 3rd, Great Britain able to push themselves just ahead of the Americans, or have they yet? Absolutely incredible as they come through. We'll wait for the final times. Some celebrations out of the Great Britain crew, so I dare not call it, but it does look like it's gone the way of Great Britain, which would mean heartbreak for the Americans. What a fantastic finish to semifinal AB2 in the under-19 men's quad. Czech Republic capturing that 1st spot.
What an indication of things to come. We do know, we can confirm that the Czech Republic has come in 1st. Germany captured that 2nd place, but we are still waiting. And in fact, it's GB capturing that 3rd and final spot.
Great Britain, Matthew Long, Harry Runit, Joshua Matthews, Jacob Ioris in the bow. They will contest the A final. Back up at the start, that was the replay, and now we're well into the thick of this race. It's the under-19 women's double sculls. Semifinal AB1, 3 spots into the A final.
A great shot there of Greece. Bow, Sofia Dalido, and in the stroke, Stiliana Naziola, looking so strong. Over to Italy here, who's currently running in 3rd, with just a couple meters behind the Germans here, but the Greeks with the decisive lead and the fastest speed on the water in these early stages.
Switzerland, Canada, Germany, Greece, Italy, and Romania round out the full field. We see the Italian sculler, the bow seat, Angelica Erpini, just look over her left shoulder. She knows that the Romanians are in good touch. At the moment, at the top of the field, as we get a sense of the full stretch, well, that's Greece, this combination of Staliana Natsiula and Sofia Dalidou in the bow.
And there, a great shot of them leading the way on their bows, not just the bow marker, but also the GPS that is bringing you all of the data in terms of their stroke rate and their speed. Look at that accelerated finish there, hands moving out of the body really nicely towards the catch, and then not a lot of extra movement. We also see a great shot there of the Canadian combination. Kate Wittard in bow, Anna Pamenter in stroke. They're a great combination that were roommates, didn't know each other a year ago, and in the last year have been living and training together. So certainly they will know the ins and outs, and they'll be after a personal best in this race.
That's a look at the backs of the Canadians. Anna Pamenter, Kate Wittard of Canada, and then back up the front with our leaders, Natsiula and Dalidou of Greece. Already well through halfway. So now's the time, 3rd 500, an absolutely critical part of the race for these athletes in terms of strategy. Ideally, you're setting yourselves up for the final 500 meters to put yourself in a position to capture one of those 3 spots, because in the closing quarter of the race, well, oftentimes you can just run out of meters, run out of water, as everyone else elevates their stroke rate, moves on with their sprint. It can be easy to get left out if you don't keep in good touch here.
But the Greeks certainly looking imperious there at the front of that flying V, leading comfortably from in front. The Italians will want to capitalize on the home field advantage of all the cheers on the Varese wall of noise that I'm sure that they will be coming across soon. Look at that shot there. Beautiful, as the athletes in second and third continue to try and keep contact with each other. You can see them heading towards that big yellow buoy that indicates the last 1,500 meters there. Greeks comfortably through at rate 36, and quite a gap back to the rest of the field, which will populate any moment there. Germany through first, then Italy.
Greece leads Stiliana Natsiula of Greece. We saw her last year at the Junior World Championships, where she took 5th in this very event. So this is an opportunity to get back into the A final and onto the podium. A lot riding, I'm sure, on her shoulders at the moment as she teams up with teammate Sofia Dalidou, the 16-year-old Greek bow seat. Beautiful shot as they lead this semifinal AB1, looking to capture not just a spot in the A final, but a place on the podium, putting themselves in good contention to get to the next step.
And here we are into the final closing stages of the race. The Greeks there first, capitalizing on their lead by really just rowing so beautifully long, comfortable, in control, being able to see the whole field behind you. So rarely do you get to that opportunity. And we can see there the Germans absolutely lifting up at 39 here, pushing away from that Italian combination. They'll know that they've done enough to get into the next final, top 3 through to final A, as we see the crews head towards the line.
Big push for Greece as they come through. Stiliana Natsiula, Sofia Dalidou of Greece, the 16-year-old bow seat, absolute jubilation as they move through the line, and a big high five. Fantastic to see. It is Germany then to capture that second spot in this Italian combination, Francesco Rubio and Angelica Erpini. That will move into the A final. That's Canada then back to Romania. And on the far side, Switzerland, Flavia Luischa in the bow seat, Alexa von der Schluberg in the stroke seat. Back up at the start for the semifinal AB2 in the junior women's double sculls. It's Japan, France, the Netherlands, Lithuania, Ireland, and Austria competing in the second semifinal AB. We're riding now with the Lithuanians. Saul Krajovici and Ula Janusate in the bow.
The Netherlands continues to lead this race here, but it is close between France and that Lithuanian combination, with Ireland hot on their heels. Great Irish support here at Lago de Varese, indeed, for all of the athletes. So they will be working hard to earn those cheers as they come through the final stretch. But first part is getting to that 1,000 meters. And here they go, the entire field, around 36 strokes per minute. And bottom right, you can see it is indeed the Dutch through first, followed by Lithuania and Ireland, who has made a push, overhauling France.
The Netherlands, both of these athletes, Annaminka and Lotte van Westerinen, racing at the under-23 World Rowing Championships last year. So racing up a class in age. And in fact, Anna Minka, just 16 years old at this time, so just 15 last year. They took 10th in the under 23 women's quad. So racing up an age category, well, that can give you speed as well, can't it?
Absolutely. And confidence as well when you get to test your mettle against the best in the world. And indeed, that's what all of these athletes are here to do today. They're here to test their strength against everyone else and for a shot at the coveted A final. Top three through, as we see that Irish combination having a really strong second 500 there. And now we see them coming past that red buoy and into the final 1250. Lots of questions coming through your mind here. What am I doing here? This is so much pain. But they'll be spurred on by that unyielding yielding answer in their voice to keep going, never enough, keep pushing hard. And indeed, the Irish crew now in second, with France kind of finding their feet again and pushing past that Lithuanian combination that was in second.
This combination from Ireland, we saw Holly Davis, the stroke seat last year at the Junior World Championships, where she took bronze in this very event. So first job is to get into the A final. Next job is to get onto the podium. She's picked up Anna Keating this year in the junior women's double.
The top four boats have been trading places, but not the Dutch looking imperious out in front. That Irish combination, I would be worried they have such a sprint in them as we've seen through the entire regatta here. And although it's quite a lot of work to make up, I don't see them leaving the water without doing their absolute best and executing their race plan.
So look at the combination once again from the Netherlands, Anna Minka, Lotte Vestrinen, bow number 3.
Ireland comfortably in second, and the race is now developing for third, with Lithuania slipping behind France. France needing to make sure that they're comfortably in the lead here, so that they can secure that coveted third spot as they come into the red buoys, absolutely flying. Dutch looking so cool, so calm, absolutely in control, Colleen.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? Just big, long strokes, moving them out, that rhythm, just carrying them all the way to the line. We see the bow seat look over her left shoulder to get a sense of, well, where is the finish line? Lotte van Vesteren of the Netherlands. What an effort from Ireland. Fantastic to see the Irish sprint. Holly Davis, Anna Keating of Ireland punching their ticket to the A final. And on the far side, it's a combination from France.
Oh, and a little crab there right in the final strokes for the Lithuanian combination. They clearly gave it absolutely everything as they drift across the line here. That shows the absolute effort, the depth that these athletes at this field is willing to go to.
So Netherlands, France, moving on with Ireland into the A final. That's the replay of the next race, the under 19 semifinal AB1. This is for the men's double sculls. What a push from Turkey, flying off the line. Halikan Koroglu, Ahmet Ali Kabadaya in the bow.
Yeah, great shot here from behind. You can see the stroke coach that the bow has. It's right between his feet there. That gives him real-time data, much like Collie and I have access to, of their speed and their stroke rate. So they'll be keeping a close eye on that, making sure that they're where they need to be here. And indeed, they are exactly where they need to be. First through the 1,000-meter by an absolutely anchored at the front there followed by Croatia, and then the Swiss, the Canadian combination coming through fourth. That's in bow Lucas Maroni, Babugulia, and in stroke Owen Bartel. They train together in Ontario, and they'll be so pleased to be here, but they will be trying their best to overhaul the third spot and get into that A final.
That's a look at the Croatians running second at the moment. Even Talaja in the stroke seat. Marin Smoljankovic in the bow seat.
Quite a spread between all the athletes here, but it's not about how you finish, it's where you finish. Top three, we can see that Canadian crew there with the maple leafs on their blade. Hurtling towards the finish. They are about to get through the 1250 meter mark. Lots of pain on the faces of the athletes as they push through, and look at that view. Gives us a really good appreciation for the hard work that Turkey combination has been putting in here. They must be enjoying the view, eh?
Yeah, they must be. That's for sure. They're looking so smooth. I mean, this really gives you a sense of the lead that they've developed for themselves as they move towards that 1500. And in fact, times roll in now in complete command of this race. 35 strokes per minute for Turkey. This combination has been super impressive, I think, in all of the prior rounds. 16-year-old in the stroke seat. So Halikan Koriglu for Turkey, just 16 years of age as they move into the final stages of their race, making their international debut. So we know it's three to advance on to the A final. At the moment, that would be Turkey. Closest to them, well, it's this combination from Croatia, Ivan Talaja, Marin Smoljankovic. If the Sinkovic brothers are watching and cheering this combination on, then we say hello to you, the Croatian siblings and multiple Olympic rowing champions, Martin and Valen Sinkovic, gold in Tokyo, gold in 2016 in the double and the pair.
And for the race for third spot here, it's the Swiss that have pushed ahead of that Canadian combination. The USA trying to make a charge, but I think it's too little, too late here as we're coming into the final 250. Those buoys turning red, and here they come towards the line.
What a finish for Turkey. Just absolute dominance start to end of this 2,000 meter course. A job well done. Halikan Koroglu, Ahmet Ali Kabadaya in the bow seat. Great margin over the full field. Big sprint from the rest of these athletes to come through and grab those qualifying positions. Croatia quite pleased with themselves, as they should be. But it's Turkey with the quickest moving time. It is Croatia, just about 2.5 seconds off of Turkey. That's the Turkish flag there for a moment, with Switzerland capturing that third spot. So Turkey, Switzerland, and Croatia will contest the A final. The USA just missing out. Tristan Wakefield in the bow. Nihil Ramarouge in the stroke seat for the Americans. That's a replay of the start for the junior men's double. This is semifinal AB2, so the second semifinal, which will determine who will join Croatia, Turkey, and Switzerland in that A final. It's France, Poland, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, and Ukraine in contention for 3 spots. Big first half for the Germans, Ukraine running second, then back to Italy.
And what a push from this German crew here. They started fourth at the 500, now in first, with France slipping from the third position back to fifth. So plenty of blows being exchanged here as the athletes go through. Ukraine continues to be the second boat in contention here, with Italy running third, but less than 0.3 seconds between Italy and Ukraine at the 1,000 meter. What a close race, Colleen.
Yeah, it is close, isn't it? Really, really tight racing all the way down. This Ukrainian combination of Leonid Sherpan Nikita Puzhalov in the bow seat, riding up at the top, though, with the Italians. So Germany out of the picture, but leading, there they are, the backs of the German scullers, Jakob Gea in the stroke seat, Ole Hanak in the bow.
You can see those hands going nice and wide as they can press in. They're trying to place those blades as far back as they can so that every single stroke absolutely staying in the water as long as they can, getting as much out, wringing every ounce of pressure against the face of the blade as they move down the course. They're going to want to keep those puddles that you see them pushing away nice and dark so that they're in the water, stepping out cleanly before placing them again. And then you pretty much just do that all the way down the course there, Colleen.
Yeah, that's it, right? That's the goal, is just to get out ahead, stay ahead, set your own rhythm, row your own race. I mean, there is an art, isn't there, Andrea, of being able to really stay in your own race?
Yeah, there certainly is, and even an art to staying in front. Sometimes the nerves can take you, or perhaps you'll take your foot off the gas with a false sense of safety, but these Germans don't look like they're taking their foot off the gas at all, lifting it to a 40, still in head, and now the fastest moving boat on the course. But look at that race developing for the last two spots.
Oh, so tightly packed just behind them. We see the Netherlands and Italy trading punches as they move through the final quarter of this race. Up at the top, well, Germany has just dominated. They're up at 41 strokes per minute, making sure that they can capture it. We have three boats in contention now for two spots. Italy, the Netherlands, and Ukraine. Italy takes it up to 39 strokes per minute. Marco Selva, Marco Dri in the bow, moving as fast as they possibly can to take one of those spots. Italy does take some margin. Oh, but just barely. Germany sees this behind them, pushing back, just absolutely thrilling finish to this race. Germany holding, Netherlands looking like they may well get it. Then it's Italy. Can Ukraine answer? Flying through the line. We will confirm that result in just a moment. It will be heartbreak for one of these crews, Andrea.
Oh my gosh, and I saw the stroke seat of the Dutch crew, that's Auke Kloosterman, just look out as he nudged his nose out in ahead, but I couldn't tell you who was third. That was incredible racing.
Yeah, we dare not. 27 entries in that event, with the majority making their international debut.
And we can confirm Germany first, Netherlands second, Italy third. Heartbreak for Ukraine.
Well, we move on to the junior men's single sculls. So that's the back of Great Britain, Marcus Shute, a real talent on the junior side for Great Britain.
Yes, Marcus also had the came second in the quarterfinal by 0.5 seconds. So many tight times in this junior men's single scull division, including Italy. We expect some good things from Marco Prati, who led from the start with a time of 7:06. But don't count out France. And if we look at the times here, Colleen, where's the field?
Yeah, they're really tightly packed. I mean, aren't they? At the field at the top, well, it is the Italian sculler Marco Prati holding on to the lead. We're riding now with Pierre Molins from France. Pierre running a pretty close second, keeping in good touch with the Italian. We see about a 3/4 length, 1 length or so separating them. Back to third, well, it's the People's Republic of China, just barely ahead of Denmark. Hu Ziwei of China out of lane 1. August Vilsham of Denmark out of lane 5. Great Britain, Marcus Shute, maybe a little bit off the pace, but we'll keep an eye on him. He's the winner of the Under-19 championships earlier this season in Varese, but certainly will need to contend with many of these European countries that field really strong junior rowers, including Italy, France, and the People's Republic of China, who run the 1, 2, 3.
And through that 1,000 meter, 1, 2, 3, staying the same as it was at the 500. All of these athletes will be probably racing a very patient race, making sure that they're in contention, that they're able to see the boats, that they have overlap and they have contacts, that they're in a position to put on the afterburners when they need to. Top 3 is the name of the game. You want to be in the race. Keep your eye on Italy and France. They both won their races to earn a ticket to the semifinal AB1. And I expect a very tight finish here from all of these athletes. Such talent, Colleen.
Yeah, such talent. And Pierre Molin's talent in the first heat. Not only did he win, he led the entire way down. It's a great group of French supporters on shore with their own little section just off the grandstand for sure. They'll be cheering for him. He is running second, so in good contention. Running third, it continues to be Ao Zihui of China out of lane 1. Getting a bit tight just behind. So Italy looking really solid. That's Marco Pratti up at the top of the field. Tightening up behind him.
Absolutely right there, Colleen. Italy looks like he's going to do a repeat leading from the start again. But you're going to have to look over from that middle lane that France is in all the way out to the outside in China in lane 1. And sometimes that can be an advantage to be in an outside lane. You can sneak through and sneak through. He has China just pipping France 1 meter ahead. That's 0.3 seconds, so barely anything separating the two athletes as he sneaks through. And hopefully that French sculler Pierre Molins is well aware of the field and is calm, cool, and collected, knowing that he has more in the tank.
Ao Zihui from China. Saw him at the 3rd World Cup where he raced up 2 age categories. So he's 18 years old. He raced at the senior level, finishing 23 overall, but really, really fantastic to get that race experience.
And here comes GB, an absolute charge through the field. Dead level between France, Germany, and China. This is going to be an incredible sprint at the end. The GB athlete coming through here into the red buoys. They're all sprinting early here. Colleen, tell us how this race is unfolding.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, isn't it, Andrea? Because it's unfolding fast and furious before our eyes. It's looking safe for Italy. Marco Pratti of Italy has led the entire way down. Marcus Schut of Great Britain, well, he was 5th at the 500, and he's now contesting for one of those 3 spots. It is Italy. It's Great Britain in a really close second. Back to the People's Republic of China, Ao Zihui, and over to France. Pierre Molins is not safe. All of these crews in contention for just 3 positions as they fly through the line. It is Marco Pratti. Just through. Absolutely incredible, looking good, I think, for Marcus Schut. We'll have times in just a moment indeed. Marcus Schut of Great Britain moving from 5th down into 2nd, about 2.2 seconds off of the Italians' pace, and then it is over to Ao Zihui of China, about a half a second behind the GB athlete. So it is heartbreak for France. That's Pierre Molin, who not only won his heat, he led it the entire way. He'll contest the B final.
A great first half for him there, but this field is so deep. An amazing race there from GB athlete. Can't wait for that A final.
Well, it's the 2nd semifinal AB, which will determine the other 3 athletes that will contest in the A final, with Italy, Great Britain, and China. That's the bow of Germany, Cornelius Conrad. We see Serbia, Belgium, Germany, Slovakia, Netherlands, and Bulgaria.
And in lane 4 from Slovakia, we have Peter Strakunsky, coached by his father, Peter Strakunsky, cheered on by his grandfather, Peter Strakunsky. They call him Patrick, which means little Peter, but he's now the tallest of all of them. And he is crediting his grandma's great cooking for his performances in the lead up to this race. And what a race it is. 1,000 meters with Germany leading, but nothing separating Peter Strakunsky and the Belgian athlete. Boris Tiedemann.
Great experience from Belgium too. Boris Tiedemann, 18 years of age. Saw him last year at the Junior World Rowing Championships in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, in the B final in the junior men's quad, finishing 9th overall. So he's moved into the single for the 2022 season, looking to secure a spot in the A final. They're through the halfway point. Cornelius Conrad leading start to finish. It's looking good for Slovakia. Peter Strakunsky.
1, 2, 3 remaining the same through to the 1,000. Not that that means anything if all the other races are any indication. Cornelius Conrad leading, Slovakia second, Belgium third, but looking back to fourth, I think a little bit of work cut out for Klaas Boud in the Netherlands.
That's Klaas Boud out of lane 5 just a moment ago as we pan over to the full field, moving through the third quarter of the race, looking for that final 500-meter mark. Germany still up at the top. It's getting really tight between Belgium, Boris Tiedemann out of lane 2, and Slovakia, Peter Strakunsky. Closest to them, well, that would be the Netherlands, but maybe not quite close enough to overhaul either Belgium or Slovakia this late in the race. Times are in for the 1500. As we ride with Boris Tiedemann of Belgium, he takes a glance over his right shoulder just to get a sense of the crews, keeping in really good touch in those top 3 positions. He'll be pleased to see the Netherlands and Serbia, along with Bulgaria, far back enough to feel, well, not quite safe, but perhaps a little bit confident.
Absolutely, pushing those other crews away from them as well as their puddles. Right now is not the time to panic. These athletes want to make sure that they are in good contention before they start their sprint. They'll be timing that sprint just well with their race plan. They'll know exactly how much they have left in the tank, but these other athletes behind are going to be giving it absolutely everything they can here. And as we look at the field, Slovakia raising his rate to 39, trying to overhaul the Belgian athlete for that second spot into the A final, top 3 through.
Under 19 men's single sculls, biggest entry across the board with 29 nations represented. It's an absolutely competitive field, and there's only 3 spots to advance. What a push from Klaas Boud of the Netherlands, 4th at the 1500, but now in contention for one of those 3 spots. The Slovakian sculler Peter Strakunsky will have to have an eye as they plow through the final strokes of this race. It is Germany safe. Cornelius Conrad so tightly packed just behind him. Boris Tiedemann of Belgium, and then what a sprint from the Netherlands from this Dutch athlete Klaas Boud and Peter Strakunsky of Slovakia as the times roll in. Germany, Belgium, Slovakia, just too late for Klaas Boud. Just off that time by what, 0.2 of a second to make it in.
So close, and these are the heartbreaking races where if you'd had just a meter or 2 more, who knows what would have happened.
So we head back up to the start then for the junior women's single sculls. It's Moldova, Czech Republic, Brazil, Germany, Netherlands, and Hungary. Luca Padar for Hungary, Gente Hongsma for the Netherlands, Rebecca Falkenberg for Germany, riding with Jongsma of the Netherlands. For Brazil, Maria Sousa Nunes. Czech Republic sees Veronika Samosna. And for Moldova, Ekaterina Fedorenko out of lane 1.
And if I'm reading my sheet correctly, I believe this is the last year of eligibility for all of these athletes. So their last race, perhaps, in the junior women's singles. Certainly one of the last races in this regatta here as they fly towards the finals In Brazil, lane 3, currently running 4th, we have Maria Fernanda Souza Nunes. She rose out of Botafogo in Rio de Janeiro, shy but determined, with incredible support from her father, who always watches her race. And through the 1,000-meter mark, we have Germany leading, Netherlands second, Hungary third, and Brazil just off the pace.
Jente Jongsma of the Netherlands running second to the German sculler at the halfway point. We saw Rebecca Flakenberg last year at the juniors in Plovdiv, the World Championship, where she took bronze in the junior women's quad. So she's moved into the single for the 2022 season, looking to get into the final, onto the podium. The first step, of course, to get into the A final. And as she leads this race and continues to push the rest of the field back, it's looking pretty good for her to do that. Still 750 meters to go.
These German scullers are absolutely talented here, and the single can be such a tough boat to race as they balance their boat along. Slight little tailwind here, pushing them down the course, looking out to their left and their right, making sure that they know where the rest of the field is, and coxing themselves down the course here. 5 minutes in to this, the first of the semifinal A-B junior women's singles.
That's a look then at the back of these athletes. Moldova out of lane 1, Ekaterina Fedorenko. And a look just next to her at the Czech sculler, Veronika Samotná. Big push for them, from them as they move through the third quarter of this race. This category, the under-19 women's single sculls, well, there's a few returning athletes not in this race, but Switzerland's Lina Kund, who won gold in the quad at the Junior World Championships last year. Greece, fantastic pedigree. Italy. So we'll keep an eye on this A final. It'll certainly be an exciting one. That's the 1, 2, 3, though, through the 1,500 meter down. Germany leads Netherlands, then back to Hungary. Rebecca Falkenberg, Jente Jongsma, and Luca Pedar.
That 1, 2, 3 looking pretty consistent. It stayed the same from the 500 through to this point of the race, but the athletes have been slowly closing up on the German single sculler Rebecca Falkenberg, with the Netherlands especially closing her lead down from 4.5 seconds to just 2.5 seconds. So we can expect her to make a little push there as she tries to see how close to that single sculler she can. But right now, Rebecca Falkenberg looking very strong out and head, controlling the race and keeping an eye on the rest of the athletes here. As you can see, those buoys turn red. Last 250, time to go. Top 3 through to final A.
Yeah, it's a really nice push for Germany, isn't it? She's been in complete command of this race. Falkenberg, she won her heat. She led the entire way down the course over the Swiss sculler mentioned Lina Kuhn. So it'll be fantastic to see them line up against one another in that A final. Germany leading the Netherlands, then looking safe for Hungary as well in the final stages of her race. Big effort. The German fans just absolutely delighted with this result. Jente Jongsma of the Netherlands keeping in really close touch, and then back to Hungary as they close through the final stages of this race. Fantastic effort from Rebecca Falkenberg. And a big, big push at the end from the Netherlands. Jente Jongsma of the Netherlands. Well, we'll confirm that in just a moment, but it looked like second, didn't it? She just wanted to send a bit of a message, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. She just came out of nowhere. She decided not to leave anything on the course. I can confirm that Germany does have first, but 0.04 seconds. What a gutsy push there from Jente Jongsma. Great job.
Fantastic job, 4/100ths of a second indeed. And then it's back to Luca Pedar of Hungary, about 3.3 seconds off the winning time from Rebecca Falkenberg. Absolutely incredible. So that again was Germany, Netherlands, and Hungary. We head straight up to the start for the second semifinal A-B of the women's single sculls. And as we take a look, we join them just about halfway. We're riding with the Greek sculler, Ekaterini Goku. 3 to advance on to semifinal A-B. She's first through the halfway point, moving from second to first, overhauling the Swiss sculler, Lina Kuhn. That's the top of the field. Then looking back to third, well, closest to them, that's Jana Dremelj of Slovenia. On the other side of the Slovenian sculler, Hela Belha Mohamed of Tunisia. Out of lane 2, Aurora Spirito of Italy, and Olivia Petri of the USA out of lane 1.
Another commanding performance here from the athletes as we see Greece once again in the middle of that flying V, in the middle of the chevron, controlling from in front. Great shot there of the Slovenian athlete. Nice long strokes as she brings her hips towards her heels before loading up those feet, pressing through those fixed foot stretchers, and absolutely sending the boat down the course. She is currently in third, rate 33.
Yeah, nice relaxed shoulders too, which can be an advantage, can't it? You can really use your core to leverage mid-stroke and send the boat out one stroke at a time, that rhythm working for her. It is Greece still leading Switzerland this semifinal A-B. A bit more distance between these athletes than what we've seen in earlier rounds.
Absolutely. And again, for the athletes, long here, making sure that she stays ahead, plenty of open water to fend off any attacks.
Ekaterini Goku of Greece, she was the winner of heat number 3. She led the entire way down the course. The 17-year-old competed last year at the Junior World Rowing Championships in the A final in the junior women's double, but just off the podium in 5th. A fantastic accomplishment, though, to make the A final. Let's not lose sight of that. Certainly, all of these athletes in the hunt for medals. But these are the world's best. Being in the A final is being here, and then being in the A final is an absolute accomplishment in its own right.
Absolutely, and there was a race unfolding between third and fourth as Italy increases their rate of striking and pulls ahead of the Slovenian athlete, who is starting to fall behind here as we get into the red buoys. They're almost at the line. I think that the Italian sculler is running out of time.
Oh, the Italian with a big push last year in the junior women's 8, taking 4th, the European champion in the junior women's 4 back in 2021. A big effort from her. Greece looking safe at the moment, over to Switzerland, Lina Kuhn, but the battle for third, well, it's looking in favor of Italy as they come through the line. Andrea, you're right, really big third quarter for her. Aurora Spirito of Italy to capture one of those spots in the A final in the under-19 women's single sculls. Great effort. It is Greece. Ekaterini Goku running second. Lina Kuhn, a good 7, nearly 8 seconds behind the Greek athlete. And then back to Italy, Aurora Spirito. Exhaustion from Goku, understandably. Catching her breath there. And wow, this morning has really flown by.
Flown by, and some nail-biting races. Colleen and I have, I would say, the second best seat in the house of first best seat, of course, being those athletes that we've watched race today. We're right across from that final tower, the great view. And there's been so many races that I have not been able to call for love or money. So only an indication of things to come as the U19 athletes finish up their races for the day here. And I believe that we are now moving in at 1:30 local time into the U23 category, beginning with the lightweight women's single.
That's right, yeah, 1:30 p.m. So some shuffles in the schedule due to weather predictions, thunderstorms. We want to make sure these athletes have the absolute best water safety, of course, the highest priority. This is a beautiful view of the Alps here in Lago di Varese, previous host to the 2021 European Rowing Championships. And we'll host the 2023 World Rowing Cup 2, where I predict we'll see so many of these junior and under 23 athletes racing here today move up to the senior level. For now, though, we thank you very much for those tuning into the live stream. We thank all of the volunteers, the parents, of course, the athletes for a fantastic morning session. We'll come back to you this afternoon, where, as Andrea mentioned, we'll kick off with the under 23 lightweight women's single in the B final. We'll see just a handful of thrilling B finals, the men's straight four, women's straight four, the doubles, the lightweight doubles, the quads. We'll move into the A finals a little bit further on in the program, the men's lightweight single, under 23 double A finals. Just loads to look forward to, concluding the afternoon session with the under 23 men's 8 final with Poland, USA, Great Britain, Australia, Germany, Romania. A massive thanks, and we look forward to seeing you shortly.
See you then. Thanks for joining us. I'm happy with that. I think I had a little bit more flow having this.